Japan has increased their interest rate for only the second time since 2007. You might wonder, as an investor or a viewer, how does this have any implication for me? The ripple effects of something like a small 0.25% interest rate hike can be huge. Especially as an investor, let us ask Mr. Prasad and get his sense of why we should at least have some idea about what implications it might have for us.
See, raising an interest rate by 0.25% for a normal eye appears like, just quarter percent interest will go up, so my cost of capital may go up only by quarter percent. Unfortunately, that is not true, because what happens is, for the whole of the world, not just for the Japanese people, but for the whole world, Japan had got so much of surplus money lying in their banks, and they started giving out the loans at 0% interest to many countries, many people across the globe. So what happened was, everybody has gotten into a habit of borrowing from Japanese in yen format, and then deploying it in America in dollars, or deploying it in Europe in euros, or deploy it in India in Indian rupees. And then they were hoping to make around 5%, 10%, or 15% return without ever being required to pay back more than what they borrowed in yen. And because the currency was also like more or less stable, everybody was hoping that the journey will continue forever. Unfortunately, when the European Central Bank reduced the interest rate by quarter percent and UK followed suit by another quarter percent, people were actually hoping that probably Japanese government may probably bring the rate to negative. That means they will also stand to gain on foreign currency, because they borrowed from the Japan in the nature of yen. But unfortunately, to the surprise of the whole world, they increased the rate by 0.25%. Now the impact of it is, when they increased it by 0.25%, the yen against the dollar, which has been sliding for the last so many months in 2024, has suddenly started turning around and appreciated by more than 7.5% or 7.25%. So what happens is, when you borrow money from Japan in yen and intend to repay it in yen, you are hoping that the yen would not appreciate against other currency, because the global currency is like dollar, and when it appreciated by 7%, that means the money you borrowed from Japan in yen form, for you to repay in the yen, you require to pay 7% more. That means your cost of capital has gone up by more than 7%. The agony does not stop there. And when it goes up in forex market, the margin calls will be triggered for all the people. So if I have borrowed the money and invested the amount in the Indian, European, or US markets, suddenly there is a margin call. I cannot repay that kind of money because I never anticipated it. So I will have to shell down the whole extra money by borrowing, or I have to close my positions in US and European market, or even in Indian market, to make sure that my money is safe with Japan. So that is why 7% increase in cost of capital in just 1 week, whereas we were hoping to have interest-free money for more than a year or 2 years, was a kind of completely shocker for the whole world. That is why European markets contracted, US markets contracted, and India also suffered, but not to a big extent, because not many people in the international arena borrow from yen and invest in only in India. That is why India is kind of slightly insulated, but that kind of thing may not continue for a long time. We should be careful about the small percentage rises which are not in line with the other tendencies. That is why this 0.25% is very significant. Any country that has accepted money that is borrowed from yen will have the same consequences.